Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Jon Campea.
The review embargo has lifted, and we can finally talk about Rogue One. Welcome, guys. We're so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also your host of Collider Heroes, Jon Schnepp.
That's right. We're going to be talking about that and a bunch of other weird, sweaty things today on
Also here, Jeremy Jahns.
We nerds are going to gush. That's what we're going to do. We're going to gush for you all.
Also here, Mark Ellis.
Sweaty gushing nerd time. Sweaty gushing nerd time.
And yeah, it is important to note that we are going to talk about Rogue One a little bit later. Important to note right up top, we're not going to spoil anything. Anything we're going to talk about is like anything you'd find in a standard review, just to let you know. But before we get to the Rogue One talk, there's some movie news to discuss. Ashley, what's going on?
According to Deadline, Patrick Wilson has been cast as Orm, the supervillain and half-brother to Aquaman in James Wan's adaptation of the DC Comics property. Also known as Ocean Master, Orm is Aquaman's human half-brother and a rival for the throne of Atlantis, who wreaks havoc on the high seas when he doesn't get his way. The movie is set to begin shooting in Australia next year in order to hit its new release date of October 5th, 2018. John, thoughts on Patrick Wilson as Orm and Aquaman?
Well, put Patrick Wilson in just about anything. He will always deliver. He just delivers. That's what he is. Call him Karl Malone of the movie universe. He just always brings it. Now, here's the interesting, Schnepp, I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. I first became aware of Orm in the New 52 Aquaman. I honestly don't know, was Orm a part of the Aquaman universe prior to the New 52? He was.
Yeah.
Okay, see, that's the thing. I was so dismissive of Aquaman prior to the New 52 because I loved him in the New 52, other than maybe his headgear. Sure. Not a big fan of the headgear. But him doing it, I think this is going to be great. And I really do hope they do the first movie a little bit like what they did with Chiwetel Ejiofor in Doctor Strange, where, yeah, we know eventually he becomes a villain, but they start the film as I would like to see them as friends and allies to start. Maybe they'll be adversaries at first. Who knows? We'll have to wait it. But I like the addition of this character, and I like the addition of the actor playing the character, so I like this all the way around. What about you, Schnepp?
Yeah, I mean, even last week when there were, Patrick Wilson's showing up at comic book stores.
Right,
like, you're like, he's going to be in something. So I was very happy to hear that he's in Aquaman, and I think he's going to be great as a villain. I think they're going to go the route where he has no superpowers. He's a half brother to Aquaman, so and he's already a criminal even before all this stuff starts. So I see him more in the realm of like probably getting some kind of tech suit, stuff like that. Maybe polluting the oceans. I don't know if they're going to call him Ocean Master, but check out Ween's song from Mollusk. It's called Ocean Man, and you'll never see Ocean Master again. Ocean Man. Just check it out, man.
Because in the New 52, he's actually quite powerful.
Yeah.
Like, he's quite powerful. He's ruling Atlantis before Arthur comes back to reclaim his throne. So it's be curious to see which story iteration they decide to follow and which version of that character they decide to go with. It'd be really cool to see. What do you think, Jeremy?
I want to see the political angle of it. I want to see Game of Thrones in the ocean right there. I would have thought someone with a little more intense military might in their execution would have been picked, like Carl Urban or something. I thought Carl Urban would have been a great Orm. However, I agree with you that Patrick Wilson completely delivers, but I do want to see that brotherly love meets political ideology clash in there, where he's like, Orm or Arthur, we're bros and all, but you are acting more like a human, not an Atlantean, and that will cause conflict. That'll cause a little bit of strife, and that will then make them nemesis. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I think this is shaping up to be one of the ones to look out for, because I agree with you. Before New 52, I was like, this dude is stupid. Aquaman is dumb. And then Jeff Johns with New 52 made Aquaman rad. And then I was like, oh, that's one of my favorite New 52 arcs. Is like right through Throne of Atlantis, man. It's great. So if you haven't read that, you should. And I'm hoping they go that route.
By the way, was that a Mystery Men reference? Nemesis?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
What's the plural?
Nemesis.
What's the plural? Nemesis. Okay. Mark, what about you?
I think it's Nemesis. Nemesis with an E in there. Look, this is not the first time in recent comic book film history that we have had a villain come from the half-brother or some sort of relation with somebody. It worked very well in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Loki, and I think it's going to be the same situation here because, like you said, Patrick the mailman. I didn't know he ever played for the Utah Jazz, but I like the comparison. He is good at a variety of different things. He's got a lot of tools in his belt, as it were. He's great in the new movie, The Founder. He's got a small part in that. He's always adding talent to whatever thing he is in, whether it's a horror movie like Insidious, it's a more dramatic role. I think Patrick Wilson has serious chops and he can pull it off very well.
You know, you add now this on top of this, Willem Dafoe playing Volko, which I think is great. I'm actually very much looking forward to Amber Heard playing Mara. This is shaping up really nice. I'm excited about it. All right, what's next?
After years of directors coming on and then dropping off, director Sean Levy is ready to start filming the Uncharted adaptation next year. But for all those Mark Wahlberg fans who are still hoping he's attached as Nathan Drake, it won't be with him. Back when David O. Russell was linked to the director's chair, the actor was attached as the historic explorer, and now thanks to an interview with We Got This Covered, he finally set the record straight, confirming that he, in fact, is no longer attached. Jeremy, are you at all surprised to hear that Mark Wahlberg is no longer attached to the Uncharted adaptation?
I am surprised because I didn't know he was still attached to it at all. I thought that died like 5 years ago. I had no idea that he was still on it. It's really funny about that because initially when I heard about that, I was like, oh no, Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake, no. And then my mom, she always puts me in my place. It's like, he is a good actor and he would do a good job. I was like, Mom, you like Firefly? She was like, yeah. I was like, do you see Mark Wahlberg as Captain Malcolm Reynolds? She was like, no. I was like, that's pretty much who they have to have in order to be Nathan Drake. That Photoshop image right there is pretty legit, though. I'm not going to lie. But my only surprise comes from the fact that I didn't know he was still on the project. But, I mean, I hope an Uncharted movie happens. With the people who are passionate to make an Uncharted movie. Again, reneging on my I have no hope for video game movies.
What do you think, Mark?
I think it's a bummer for Mark Wahlberg because he just got out of video game jail. I think he had to serve 8 years after Max Payne, so he's finally free from that, and now he's not going to be in Uncharted, which is fine with me because I have so many action movies starring Mark Wahlberg that I can fall back on that I don't need him to be in another one. This is nice. It's a nice fertile landing spot for somebody new to be an action star where we don't necessarily need a huge name because the name Uncharted, as Jeremy can attest to, is going to get people in seats if the trailers look good regardless of who is playing Nathan Drake. If you want serious star power, obviously I know Chris Pratt's name has been tossed around. Maybe your boy Carl Urban or Nathan Fillion could step into that role.
What do you think, Schnepp?
Yeah, or Bradley Cooper is my pick. But yeah, you know what? I'm not bummed out that Wahlberg's not part of this. He's already got his Transformers. He's got his stuff with Berg where he's always playing a real person, and he's doing a great job with that. So I'd rather see someone else do this. And ever since Sean Levy said he was going to be directing it, I thought Mark Wahlberg was unattached. So I didn't know this was not news to me. So
Here's the funny thing. At first, 2 years ago, somebody brought up Nathan Fillion, right? And I thought, you know what? It's probably not the right time for Nathan Fillion. That era's probably gone. At the time he was doing that show, what's the name of that show he did, Wendy?
Castle.
Castle. He did that. Castle was a show, and he was not looking in the best shape doing that show, whatever. But as we mentioned yesterday, we actually bumped into Nathan at the premiere, and we talked to him for a bit, and we walked away. I'm like, holy crap, he's never looked better. He's never looked like he's been in better shape. He's never like. I've completely taken aback. I could totally see him as Drake. Now, it's not my first pick. I think mine would probably still be a Chris Pratt. I think he would fit in that very well. I think a lot of the names we mentioned here would be good. But if they went with a Nathan Fillion at this point, I would be, yeah, I'm good with that. That actually really works. Can you think of any other names?
All I know is Mark Wahlberg is no longer Nathan Drake. Nathan Fillion has been working out. Coincidence? I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe he's gonna be the new Green Lantern. There we go. We'll bring that old one back up again. He did voice. Nate voiced Green Lantern, the animated stuff, right? Okay. Well, there we go. All right, guys. We've reached that part of the show for opening this week, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. There's one big juggernaut of a film opening this week. Ashley, tell us about it.
Cue the cheers, because it's Rogue One. In a time of conflict, a group of unlikely heroes band together on a mission to steal the plans to the Death Star, the Empire's ultimate weapon of destruction. This key event in the Star Wars timeline brings together ordinary people who choose to do extraordinary things, and in doing so, become part of something greater than themselves.
Okay, so all of us at this table now have had a chance, including Jeremy Jahns, has had a chance to see Rogue One. So, Jeremy, let's start with you. Your overall thoughts on Rogue One. Should people be going out to see it this weekend?
I'm not supposed to plug my review on here, am I?
You can plug your review.
I think you just did.
Yeah. You can find my review on YouTube right now for a more in-depth analysis. Should they go to it? Yes. Does the movie have problems? A couple. However, does it compromise the overall experience? No, it does not. This throws back to, we're talking episode 4 before it was episode 4. This is like old school Star Wars. It's not lightsabered out. It's blasters. It's stormtroopers. It's a mission. It's a thing they gotta do for the greater good of the galaxy far, far away. I ate it up like candy. It's one of those movies I got out of and I was like, I really enjoyed it. However, I'm going to sit on this for a bit before I review it because I need to marinate on that. You know when Kevin Smith says it's like Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah.
I think, and this is the way I'm like, he's not wrong, in the sense that Empire Strikes Back, when people got out of it, was like, it's enjoyable. And then when time went on, it got better and better and better as it really soaked in. They digested the information a bit, and I think in that respect, it is a lot like Empire Strikes Back. So, yes, the movie is better now than it was 10 minutes ago, which was better now than it was 10 minutes before that. I really liked it.
Mark, what about you?
I thought this was a great Star Wars movie, both if you're a fan of Star Wars lore or if you just want to see a really great war movie. What this movie does for the Star Wars fan is it's so good at building the mythology and world building and showing us new places in the Star Wars universe that every time you feel like, oh, everything in Star Wars has been explored, there's so much new in this movie, but it still feels like it's in the time period right before A New Hope. I think what Gareth Edwards brought to the table from a directing standpoint is a story that really showed us what the rebellion is like from a desperation standpoint, is that we got to see what the boots on the ground look like, that it's not just this great glowy, oh, we're the rebellion and we're all happy and we're the good guys. No, there's a lot of shades in this film, and the bottom line is that the action is so intense. The way it builds up to a climactic scene is so well done, both by the actors involved and by everybody behind the scenes. If I was to criticize this movie, I would say that I think that the second act gets a little long, gets a little meaty, it gets a little slow sometimes, especially if you're not a Star Wars fan. You might be looking at your watch a little bit, but that's going to go away once we hit the third act. Everything about this movie made me happy that I was a Star Wars fan. I think it's a worthy follow-up to last year's The Force Awakens. And as soon as you see this movie, prepare yourself, because you're going to want to run home and watch A New Hope when you simmer down from the excitement this movie leaves you with.
Now, I do want to touch on that, is that, you know, a lot of movies are like, well, in the third act, it kind of falls apart a little bit.
A lot of movies that happen.
This is the best third act I've seen in a while. The most exciting, anyway. And in terms of the Star Wars movies, probably the most exciting third act.
Schnepp, you had a chance to see it last night. Actually, you're the freshest set of eyes on it. What did you think about Star Wars Rogue One?
Journal of the Wills. Now, that's the thing that George Lucas called Star Wars back before it actually had it being called Star Wars. This felt like a true Star Wars film. To me, its heart is based right with The New Hope. For me, the opening was a little bit slow. But without going into spoilers, I think it ramps up. Act 2, I really started getting invested in the characters, and Act 3, I was all in, and I absolutely love the film. There are certain elements to it. To me, we'll just call it the uncanny valley. Let's leave it at that. Google it. I don't want to get into spoilers, but for myself, it took me out of the movie. With that being said, everything else in the film, I absolutely love. K2SO. He is my favorite character.
He was the surprise of the film. He was the surprise of the film. Yeah, absolutely.
And as a matter of fact, anytime, any moment, I was like, this scene is getting a little long in the tooth. That guy showed up and gave me a little laugh. So I felt like it's really a great film. I mean, I have to say that even if it has nothing to do with Star Wars, this remedies any problems I had with the prequels. I'm like, look, you never have to watch those again. The only prequel that exists to Star Wars: A New Hope is Rogue One, and just start with that. That's your starter kit. So,
okay, so here's the thing. I absolutely adored it, this film, and I'm like you. The more that time passes between when I saw it now, the more and more I like it. Now, I'm going to say something, and I mentioned this in our official Rogue One review, that goes more in depth. It is up on our channel right now. You can go and check that out. One of the things I mentioned there is I'm very much in the minority because everybody just gets crazy about how great this film gets as it progressively goes along. I might have even actually liked the first half of the movie more. To me, and I mentioned this before too, it reminded me a lot of The Dirty Dozen. Not in the plot points, but that feel of the opening, this meeting these characters, understanding their context, they're moving along, heading towards this near impossible thing they need to do, right? And I just soaked it. I loved it. And then it gets into a completely different kind of a movie once you get into the second half of the movie, which just then blows your mind. It is fun. It's exciting. It is by far and away, the original trilogy aside, is by far and away my favorite Star Wars movie. To me, it is better than The Force Awakens. And I really enjoyed The Force Awakens. To me, this is a better film. I adored it. It was everything I was hoping it would be. I couldn't have been happier. I am still pissed at the lack of an opening crawl. I am still pissed about that. I did find it jarring when the movie started, the opening crawl. But you know what? If my biggest complaints can be simmered down into a 2-minute window, that's a pretty damn good thing, because I just adore this movie. And oh, look! Ken Knapsack is here.
It's magic.
Changed.
Power
Ken
of the Force.
Knapsack is here, who also saw this movie
I did.
yesterday.
I've always wanted to replace Mark Ellis on things. Sports reference, baby carrots. Saw it yesterday. Thanks to this wonderful man, Jeremy Jones. I was his date to the screening. Thank you, JJ.
You know what? Best date I've ever had.
Look, my overall reactions, I had to calm down. You guys saw me there. I was like, that's my favorite Star Wars movie ever. I had to calm down and relax. Obviously, I think the original saga, when you're tied to the main stories. But when in 1983 I came out of Return of the Jedi, and the next day at school I went to the playground for recess and said, guys, let's play Star Wars. This movie is what I was playing. This has some of my absolute favorite Star Wars stuff. Now, does it stand up on its own? I think it does. But if you don't know the references to the Star Wars novelization of A New Hope that are in this movie, you mentioned Journey to the Wills is one, but there's some other references, some other deep cuts, you might not get to enjoy it as much as I did. A lady next to us at the screening turned to me right before the beginning and said, now this is the sequel to the one that comes out last year. No. That woman might not enjoy it as much as me.
It really happened.
Fair criticism. Fair criticism.
Did you give her the Vulcan hit? And sleep?
And sleep. Well, she pointed the screen at Felicity Jones and said, that's the same woman from last year. I said, no, but they are both British. That's the start. There are some things, there are some risks that they took that might not pay off for some at others. I was surprised they took some of those risks. Right. It's very brave. You can decide whether it's there. But I'm telling you, yes, the characters in Force Awakens might have been better for me because we need them to be. We're going to be with those characters for 3 films. But we don't know at the end of this movie, you know, the characters, they serve a great purpose. They serve a great purpose to the bigger story. And I'm excited that we have these new characters in Star Wars lore.
Can I also add a non-spoiler? This actually made Star Wars make more sense. This made A New Hope
absolutely
make more sense
Yeah.
because of the machinations of the plot and the story. It gave so much more depth to the rebels, to the cause, to everything. That's like now when you see A New Hope, if you see Rogue One, there's such a multi-layered story behind everything.
Yeah, and that's an important point, because I think a lot of people, you know, people will see either a prequel or a sequel to a certain film, and they'll go, well, that takes away from that original film for me. We heard the complaints about the prequels and other film franchises as well. I think you're bang on the money. This is a film that will make you appreciate the original Grandmaster Star Wars even more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if you had asked me if that was possible, I would say no.
Right.
Before seeing the film. No, let's not set our expectations that ridiculously high that'll even add to but it does.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
Just talking about it. Like, I want to see it again.
My heartbreak moment was when I got home. I was like,
when you got home, okay. Don't
don't
spoil anything.
My gosh, man, I'm a professional here. Who do you think you have hired here? This is highly irregular. But when I got home, I wanted to put in the original Star Wars, the original New Hope, and I was like, I have a review to do. So I haven't watched it yet, and that's my heartbreak moment, because I want to just pop into New Hope right there and just watch the next chapter in this saga. But yeah, it really is. It's a film that is more in line with what we, as old people, grew up with in Star Wars. And so now there's a whole new generation of kids who will get that feeling we got. I don't know, I appreciate that. I love that. I love that there are these new Star Wars films coming out where kids will look back and be like, no, Rogue One's the best one ever. And I'll look at that kid when they're 18, 19, I'll be like, yeah, good for you. Yes, sure. I'm glad that you get that. I think that's great.
It's funny because I didn't get home from the after party until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
I couldn't watch it then. But we're going to go see it Thursday night, 7 p.m. with an audience here in Burbank, with a full audience. And we've already planned our evening. We're going to do that. We're going to go with a couple friends, grab a drink. And then Ann and I are going to go right back home. We're going to have Rogue One already queued up in the Blu-ray player. We're going to have it ready to go. Or not Rogue One, the New Hope. Have it ready to go. Just get home, hit play. and just keep it going.
Question: special edition or despecialized edition?
Despecialized. That's the one I have.
I wish I did, but unfortunately, the disc version I have is the.
I will bring in my despecialized version and give it to you so you could watch it.
Yes,
I'll bring
that
it in
is
tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
I got the despecialized. I printed out labels. I bought Blu-ray cases. They're on my Blu-ray shelf in like official old school jackets.
You sweaty.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. It's right there. It's like it goes original trilogy, Force Away. It's like right there. I'll show you. But one of the great things is after Ken and I get out, I turn to him. After we step out of the theater, I was like, "What'd you think?" And Ken literally, stone face, is like, "Let's get to the car." And I was like, okay. And I was like, so what do you think? He's like, let's just get in the car. And you would swear he had the plans to the Death Star on him. Like, don't tell anybody. We just need to get in the car. And so right when the door closed, he's like, oh my gosh, that was really it. So then we just started gushing about it.
I had
It
an
was pretty
emotional
good.
reaction.
It was
Again,
good.
I love these characters. I want to spend more time with these characters. I'm going to watch this movie over and over again. It is a great, great addition to the Star Wars universe. Where does it rank? I don't know.
Yeah, it's too early for me.
It's- yeah, no,
next
yeah,
year,
We all
I'll let you
need
know.
to go see it. Maybe next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, dude, come on! Every day next week is going to be
I know,
lunch.
but I'm just saying
meeting
I want to
straight
go
at the movie theater.
because I cheered 3 times out loud. One of them by myself in the theater.
He did too.
Me
Me too.
and Riley were seated like 3 people apart, and the 2 people were just like looking at us like, "Whoa, why are these people?" We were
Nerds.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
like just,
I think
and-
we was the same moment.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I had to say,
With no spoilers.
I went like this.
Started
Yeah.
a slow clap that never happened.
Literally, you're like, I can't believe they did. That's so smart and amazing and great.
I agree. Yeah, Ken goes. No one, and I looked at him. I was like, I got the reference. I got that.
I got back from lunch. And I pull into my parking spot, and standing out in the parking lot are Jeremy, Ellis, and Ken. All just stand there, and I'm pulling up, and I look at the 3. All 3 of them are like, and because they had just gotten back from the screening.
Yeah,
so.
we were reenacting parts like with our personage,
Right.
like
Well,
we're on the playground. It was good.
at lunch. We're going to go play Star Wars in the parking lot. It's great.
Hey,
You're invited.
here's a sound effect. Is that a spoiler? It's I don't know.
All right, well, listen, guys. Clearly, for this opening this week's segment, talking about should you go to see it, should you be excited about it? The answer to that is an overwhelming and resounding yes. Get out and see. And it brings up a thing. A lot of people ask, "What do you think is to do opening weekend?" And I said, my baseline is going to be 147 million opening, depending on the reaction.
Right.
Because who knows? We didn't know. Would the reaction be poor? Would the reaction be good? I'm now going to say just north of 150. I still don't think it's going to make 200 million. I still do not think it's going to make 200
Not
million.
Beauty and the Beast numbers, but
No, it won't be Beauty and the Beast. But
I was just peeing. What happened? I'm going 180. Going 180.
You're going to go
for
100.
Rogue One, yeah.
I'm not willing to put an exact number, but I will say north of 150. I think because I think the word that's getting out there now, the buzz that is starting to generate. I think a lot of people now who might have been on the fence about going to see
Right.
Rogue One this weekend are going to be probably now hopping on Fandango or whatever and buying those movie tickets. But again, I still don't think it'll make Beauty and the Beast numbers.
I mean, it's
not
Beauty and the
200
Beast.
million, not 200 million, but we'll see how that goes.
I
All
think
right,
it's going to
guys.
make 185 just to beat Ellis.
151.
151.
Bam!
All right.
Price is right,
Let's
baby.
do it.
Let's see what happens now. Okay, guys, we've reached that part of the show now for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Warner Brothers has unveiled the first poster for Christopher Nolan's World War II action thriller Dunkirk. Written and directed by Nolan, the film is based on the true events about the evacuation of Dunkirk during the British military operation that saved 330,000 lives as Allied soldiers were surrounded by German forces. The film stars Tom Hardy, Kenneth Branagh, Mark Rylance, and Cillian Murphy. It opens in theaters on July 21st, 2017. Mark Barsell, the new poster for Dunkirk.
Monster buy for me, Ashley. I love everything about this poster, from the image where you see a soldier looking off into the distance. The color scheme is beautiful. The tagline, the battle that shaped our world, something like the event that shaped our world. It's everything about this trailer, plus the fact that it says, filmed by Christopher Nolan. That helps. This thing looks spectacular. I love this poster. I don't know if the movie's going to be better than Rogue One. This poster is a whole lot better than the Rogue One poster.
What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I buy it for sure. All right, so it's a guy with his back to the viewer among something. That's like Nolan 101 right there. In fact, a lot of posters use that format. However, I love the wreckage in front of him, and with you, I'm with you, Mark. It's the credentials behind it. It's the visuals. I mean, the size and scope of what he's looking at is why I love the poster. I mean, if he were just looking off in the distance, no. If he were looking at a building, no. If he were just looking at a bunch of soldiers, no. He's looking at that. I mean, that's some damage that just happened. I love the visuals on it. I mean, it's on fire. There's like oil fires in the ocean. On that, definite buy.
What do you think, Schnepp?
I love it. I mean, you're right. It's like Inception. It's like Interstellar. It's like The Dark Knight, where you had the back of the Joker, you had the back of Leonardo DiCaprio, you had all of Christopher Nolan's teaser posters are all in the same vein as this. So keep the poster designer, whoever that dude is, keep him on every Nolan film, because it gives you're behind the character almost as a POV looking into what the movie is going to be, but it's still very mysterious. I mean, you see someone possibly jumping to their death. It's definitely a war film. Oh, yeah. I mean, so I love the poster.
And it's a conversation starter, too, because you read that tagline, it says the event that shaped our world, and you're like, well, what is this? Because there's been more famous battles.
Right.
In World War II that are memorialized in movies like Sands of Iwo Jima or even Saving Private Ryan, but this battle that they're going to be focusing on is just as instrumental in what we have today as anything else that happened in World War II.
I'm going to... Okay, first of all, I buy the poster. It's a really nice-looking poster. It reminds me, there was a poster that dropped today. We don't have it on our items list. We were saving it for tomorrow. There is another new poster that dropped today for the Transformers. Oh, these are similar posters.
Oh, really?
Except Optimus Prime isn't facing away, but if you look at the background and everything going on there, we never got it prepped to bring it up on the screen, but it's the exact. Look up the new Transformers poster, you see, except that Optimus Prime is facing the front, but the background and everything is all really similar. But I do like this very much. I think it's a really nice poster, especially knowing what the movie is about. This gives you a sense of the and I don't mean this in the positive way, the awesomeness, the hugeness, the scale, and the overwhelming strife of it all, of what was going on there. So that thing is really cool to me. So for me, it's
John,
buy.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's opening in a few select theaters this weekend, Rogue One, and they're showing 7 minutes of Dunkirk in IMAX.
Believe
is that correct?
On IMAX screens, it's going to be 15 to 20 theaters. They're going to show
that's
around
this weekend.
7 minutes of Dunkirk.
Boeing in Seattle.
Like 7 minutes of it, much like they did with The Dark Knight. Or The Dark Knight Returns, I should say. All right, what's next?
Warner Brothers Pictures debuted a new Lego Batman movie extended TV spot online. Will Arnett reprises his role of Batman from the Lego movie alongside Michael Cera as Robin, the Boy Wonder, Rosario Dawson as Batgirl, Ray Fiennes as Alfred Pennyworth, Mariah Carey as Gotham's mayor, and Zach Galifianakis as the Joker. Chris McKay is directing the Lego Batman movie from a script by Seth Grahame-Smith. It's set to open in theaters on February 10th, 2017. Schnepp, buy or sell the new extended TV spot for the Lego Batman movie.
Chris McKay, you've come a long way, baby. Old pal of mine. I buy it. I love the addition of all the idiot super villains of Batman that no one ever uses anymore. They're in there, as well as the regular Joker, Penguin, Two-Face. So yeah, this movie, every single little addition to this the Lego Batman movie, from the original teaser trailers to right up to now, makes me laugh every time I see it. So of course I buy this.
Jeremy.
It's a strong buy for me, because Batman, it's a great lush world, but there are some ridiculous elements that in the history of Batman that they're out there, they're real, and this movie pokes fun at that in a very meta way. I didn't know Galifianakis was the Joker, but his lines in there are hysterical. There's actually one element. There's one villain that's in here. I was like, that can't be real. And I Googled it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's real. No, but I knew all the others were. But if I wasn't laughing in this trailer, I was smiling the entire time. I buy the trailer for sure. I'm looking forward to this. This is one to watch for me.
Yeah, this is a buy for me. This is shaping up to be kind of a pleasant surprise, because my first thought was, I loved Batman in the Lego movie, but I wondered, might this be a case like the Minions were? Might this be a case where a character who is used sparingly in a film and has great impact may not necessarily work if they are the feature character, and could that character get a little bit tired and could the shtick get old? But I'm telling you, all the marketing I've seen for this has me salivating to see a full feature film of this. This new TV spot is really clever. The Superman references were great. This is really cute and clever, so for me, it's a buy.
It's just so well written. Every promotional thing we've seen for this movie so far, it's really funny. You can tell that they are winking at the mythology of Batman while also exploring every corner and crevice to make jokes about it. I'm going to buy this. I'm still a little trepidatious that it's a feature film, because I've enjoyed everything and I've laughed at everything, but afterwards, It's a little exhausting, and that's like a minute and a half. Or for this, it's like 30 or 45 seconds. I'm not sure I can handle 90 minutes of this movie. I think even a film like Anchorman, which I think is hysterical, I like watching Anchorman best in 20-minute doses. I think that might be the case with Lego Batman, where it's just a lot to take for 90 minutes.
All right, what's next?
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 director James Gunn recently took to Facebook to explain why Baby Groot is not just some shameless cash grab to sell toys. His explanation came on the heels of some interaction with fans on Twitter who accused him and Marvel of only creating Baby Groot as a marketing ploy. As he reveals, that wasn't even his initial plan. To be honest, when I was first working on the script for Volume 2, I was planning on it being years after the first movie and for little Groot to be a grown Groot, but there was something missing. It was then I came upon the idea of having Volume 2 take place very shortly after the first film, and for Groot to still be Baby Groot with quite a lot to learn. This change opened up the whole movie for me, and it suddenly all came together. John Barisell, James Gunn's comments about Baby Groot.
Oh, I buy them completely. I mean, look, some people I've heard criticize that the Baby Groot is simply a marketing ploy. Guess what? Everything that goes into almost every movie is a marketing ploy, because at the heart of it, before somebody finances a film, they're going to ask the question, will people want to go to see this? And then they structure the film in such a way that they think an audience will want to go to see it. People wanted to see Baby Groot. They did. They just did. And if James Gunn's idea was to have a story that takes place early after the last one, it only makes sense that Groot would still be developing and he would be at a certain stage. He's clearly not in the flower pot anymore, which is good, so we've had some progression from there. But everybody adored Baby Groot at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. As a matter of fact, they missed the boat on that from the toy. They didn't think people were going to be going out of their minds for it, and they had almost no toys of Baby Groot ready to go. That's why it wasn't until like 5 months after the movie that you started to see Baby Groot toys really start to pop up in mass. Now, is it beneficial to them that they can take advantage of that? Yes. Are they going to make hundreds of millions just on Baby Groot toys? Absolutely yes. But it all went to serve the story, so for me, his comments are a huge buy.
It's a buy for me, too, for no other reason, because of what you said, where they so missed the boat on the first Guardians of the Galaxy marketing, Baby Groot, that you almost want to give them a pass. Like, yeah, you can make a Baby Groot movie, and we're going to be fine with it, because we want this character. I think it's a marketing ally. I don't think it's a marketing ploy or a gimmick, because James Gunn is clearly passionate about telling stories in the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, and I want to see the progression of Baby Groot. I want to see how Groot redevelops those skills and the abilities that he had as fully grown Groot. That's going to be a fun evolution to watch happen in Volume 2. So is it going to be beneficial to their wallets? Yes, but it also is going to serve the story. That's what I care about.
Schnepp.
I'm going to be buying a Baby Groot. So, in the creative process, I'm sure he was working on a Volume 2, or, while the movie came out, it made all this money. And then he probably just upon reflection was like, I want to, why not try this? And he tried it, and Marvel went with it. They also went with Ego the Living Planet, which he was worried about. So I think, that's how it works out. And is it a great marketing tool? Yes. Is Baby Groot really cute? Yes. So, I think it's a win on all situations. I don't think it's just making plush toys or something. Actually, it would be very barky. It wouldn't be plush.
Jeremy.
As someone who's bought by Marvel, Disney, and DC, I can attest that venomous comments in a comment section or Twitter, everywhere they happen. And, I give him the benefit of the doubt, absolutely. I think that he just had a good idea that completely worked. We saw in the trailer that it worked. And then the byproduct is, now we get toys. And it's like everyone wins, Like the studio's like, yeah, perfect, kid. All right, we're going to do that. Green light tomorrow, Other than the fact that the box office of the first one totally crushed. But yeah, I just think it's a byproduct where everything worked together. It's like, Spaceballs, when yogurt's like, merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made. But I do think that it's like, yeah, but you have the good idea in the movie, and then the toys come afterwards as a byproduct. I think that's what happened.
If you want a good marketing gimmick, wait until movies come out that are trying to do what Guardians Volume 2 did, where you're going to get other famous characters in baby form. I think we missed the boat on having Baby Schnapps available for Christmas.
Well, look,
Baby
clearly
carrots.
They're just ripping off Muppet Babies. Clearly this is just
Muppet Babies is one of the most underrated programs of all time. The Star Wars episode of Muppet Babies
awesome.
is better than Rogue One, arguably.
All right, guys, well, listen, we do this show live every day, Monday through Friday, and we like to save a little bit of time at the end of the show for those of you who are watching live to send in your live Twitter questions. If you want to fire in some questions, you can do that right now. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Collider Video. Start shooting in some questions, and Wendy will pick out a couple of your questions to read at the end of the show. I also want to remind you that Movie Talk is not the only program going up on Collider Video today. A little bit later today, we have the weekly Collider Heroes with Jon Schnepp. That goes up around 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Keep your eyes open for that. Also, the newest movie trivia schmodown match takes place today between Team Trek, that's Scott Mance and Jason Inman, against Team 6 Degrees, who are on a one-match winning streak, having defeated the Wankers. So keep your eyes open for that. Wangers.
John, you've got a match coming up, though, with some Star Wars
people,
I'll
get
right?
to that a little bit later. I don't know if you can call it a match. It's more like a beating. But anyway, also make sure you check out Collider Crash Course. We put our newest one up just the other day. But for now, let's get to our mailbag. Look, guys, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address in the show, just email us anytime at collidervideo@gmail.com. Send on in your questions. Ashley, what's in the mailbag today?
Imagine Next writes, my question is, are movies like Die Hard and Home Alone Christmas movies? I say no. They are movies set during Christmas, but the ideas in both films aren't focused on Christmas. In Home Alone, Kevin's family could have been on a trip in July and the story would have been the same. In Die Hard, John McClane could have had his wife's company's Halloween party. Films like Elf, A Christmas Vacation, and A Christmas Story are inseparable from the holiday season.
With Home Alone, I'll disagree because the spirit of Christmas is actually one of the key things that runs throughout it. Christmas actually does play, the season itself does play a part in the film. It doesn't just happen to be the background of it. So I will say that Home Alone, the original, I would count it as a Christmas movie. Die Hard is one that I have debated with myself many times. There have been years where I thought, yes, Die Hard is absolutely a Christmas movie. And there are years like this year that I agree with you. It's not a Christmas movie. Christmas just happens to be the time of year it happens. You're right. I don't think the original Die Hard changes very much if you called it the company Thanksgiving party or the company Halloween party or the company, Festivus party, whatever it is. I don't think it changes that much. It's still essentially the same movie. So while Die Hard is a film that I look forward to rewatching every Christmas season, I kind of agree with you. Right now, I don't consider it a Christmas movie per se. Mark, I think you're itching to disagree with me on this. How do you see it?
You're wrong. You're so wrong. Die Hard is a necessary Christmas movie because John McClane would not have gone from New York to L.A. to visit his wife and potentially kids unless it was the season of giving. He went there because it was Christmas. He's got the big teddy bear when he gets off the plane. There's a lot of little hallmarks in Die Hard. Like, for instance, the terrorists, they're looking for a Christmas miracle. That was in the form of the FBI being morons. There's a lot of great Christmas cheer in Die Hard. I think it belongs during Christmas, and you are very correct on Home Alone. Because Home Alone, it's all about Kevin losing his family and realizing that he really does miss his family, and family, the coming together of all that is in the Christmas spirit. So they're both great Christmas movies, arguably the two best Christmas movies ever.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I completely agree with you on Home Alone for the reasons you both said. Family, loss, Christmas, coming together, oh, la-di-da, warm, fuzzy. He even talks with Santa, who I think might even have been the real Santa with Santa. But for the sake of argument, if you're going to say, well, if John McClane was visiting his wife at a Halloween party, you could then say Buddy the Elf could have been a person who went to Halloween Town, and then after that, so, I mean, you can always change something up to make it a different thing, thus change whether or not it is a Christmas movie or not. So I feel like I want to agree with Mark, but I do see your point on it. But every year, Die Hard comes on and I watch it, and when the end credits hit, and I'm like, this is perfect.
I think
Christmas
Die
movie.
Hard 2 is less of a Christmas movie than Die Hard 1, because Die Hard 2
There's
is
more snow in 2.
It's a very crowded airport.
Yeah.
And you can have that with, I think Thanksgiving is actually the most traveled holiday of the year. So you could have had that take place around Thanksgiving, but the first Die Hard is essential Christmas.
I'm going to say this. I agree with you on it not a Christmas movie, rather a movie that takes place during Christmas. However, if anyone comes to me and says, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I'm like, do you think it is? And when they say yes, I'm like, then it is.
Schnepp, what do you think?
I would say that Die Hard is a Christmas movie if Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a Christmas movie. Now, there's so many movies that have Christmas as a setting that don't rely on the holiday as a whole, and that's what I think Die Hard is. It does not rely on, it's a plot device. So I could watch Die Hard in the middle of summer, or I could watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in the middle of summer and be like, oh yeah, it's set during Christmas. It's not about Christmas.
Yeah,
That's
you
why
can
Die
only
Hard's
watch.
great. It's the gift that keeps on
Well,
giving throughout the entire year.
That's why people set movies during Christmas, because they're like, it's a win-win situation, but it's not about Christmas. Even Bad Santa, which is about Santa Claus, a guy dressed as Santa, isn't about Christmas.
It's
Bad
not a
Santa,
Christmas movie.
Bad Santa 2, which I hope you went out and saw because it's mean-spirited and fun, is not about Christmas. So the only films that are really about Christmas are the films that are actually about Christmas.
I do see what you're saying. There are movies like Christmas Story I can't watch before Halloween.
Yes.
Like it's
Right,
like when
yeah.
November hits, then I can watch Christmas Story because it is a Christmas movie. I can watch Die Hard 365 days.
I'm making fists with my toes right now.
Just argument's sake, man. Just devil's advocating over.
All right, let's move on. What's next?
Aaron writes, it looks like the best animated feature race at the Oscars is going to be a tight one. Do you think that any of the animated films will make it into the best picture race? Do you think that Moana and Zootopia will cancel each other out in the animated film category, both being Disney flicks? Or does the Academy love its Disney/Pixar films too much? I thought that Kubo and the Two Strings was pretty spectacular and would love to see Laika get the love they deserve.
No. Well, the two films happening to come from the same studio does not. That would never cancel each other out. Two Warner Brothers films in the race for Best Picture would not cancel each other out. I mean, look, you had Brave and Wreck-It Ralph come out the same year. They were the two front runners. Unfortunately, the wrong film won. It should have been Wreck-It Ralph, I think, that year. But look, to me, hands down, now that I've watched them both again a couple of times, and this is just my personal opinion, to me, hands down, Moana is a better picture than Kubo. Kubo is my second favorite animated film of the year. I really enjoyed Kubo a great deal. I was shocked how much I liked Moana. I don't see Moana, though, or Kubo getting in the best picture discussion. Maybe if I had asked me that question 4 weeks ago, but now as we're now in the award season, I've watched a lot more of the award contending films. Just last night, I saw Patriots Day. Go see Patriots Day the moment you get the chance. Or Nocturnal Animals, or you're talking about Hacksaw Ridges and Silence, and you're talking about La La Land, and you're talking. There's just too many big heavy hitters. I don't see any of the animated films getting in that race this year. I don't know. Jeremy, what do you think?
Hypothetically, if you had to choose one, though, it would be Moana.
It would be Moana for me,
Moana.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. Every year I run into this. So after decades of life, I'm going to accept the fact that the movies that are going to be Best Picture contenders are going to be about 5. Was it 5 or 10 this year?
10.
10 movies.
It's
No,
a maximum of 10 movies.
It can be a maximum of 10, a minimum of 5.
Okay, so 5 to 10 films that I haven't heard of. So that's the way it's going to go down. But I don't see, like, Toy Story 3 was a different thing. It's like, remember when Toy Story 3 was Best Picture? It's like, oh my gosh, but nothing this year has done to me what Toy Story 3 did, except I'm leaning towards Kubo and the Two Strings, but I do need to watch Moana and Kubo and the Two Strings again. But I am still, if I had to pick one, mine would be Kubo and the Two Strings because it was so different.
It was very different, Schnepp.
Yeah, artistically, I would pick Kubo.
Me too.
But Oscar-wise, I would pick Zootopia because I think the story and everything that it meant was really transcended it's for kids and adults, and it really worked on both of those levels. So if in the Best Picture category they were going to pick an animated film, I would go with Zootopia because that kind of crossed the bridge.
See, I would give the edge, slightest of edges, to Kubo and the Two Strings being able to contend in the Best Picture category. I think it should win just slightly over Moana, but they're both worthy contenders. I think Zootopia was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the subversiveness of it, the messages it had for adults as well as children. But I think that I agree with John. It's not condemning the quality of any of these animated movies. It's just that there's so many great live action movies that I actually think were better than Kubo or Moana. I mean, I'll add to your list. I'll throw Arrival in there, Moonlight, Hell or High Water. I think The Founder is great. Edge of 17. There's so many movies that are going to be contending for those 10 spots. I don't see it happening. If one does, I'm going to give the slight edge to Kubo.
I hope Edge of 17 gets nominated.
Oh, so do I.
It's great.
Love that film. Okay, so let me ask you a little trivia question for you guys. In the history of the Academy Awards, only 3 animated films have been nominated for Best Picture. What were those three?
Tale
Toy
as
Story.
old as time.
Oh, what's
Okay,
Beauty?
so
All right, Beauty and the
Beauty
Beast
was the first ever.
Toy Story 3 was another one.
Toy Story 3, and what was the third?
Hold on.
Mark Riley's
Mark
got
Riley seems to know what it
raising
is.
his hand. I feel like it was going to be.
It's not The Incredibles, is it?
No, it wasn't.
That
I'm
should
gonna
have.
go with I'm gonna go with Aladdin.
It was not Aladdin.
I don't think it was Aladdin. I don't think it was The Lion King either.
It was not the Lion King either.
I would have known that.
Riley, scream it out.
Yeah, hold on. No. I got that. I feel like it was recent, like around Toy Story 3's era. Was it?
Was it
Up?
It was Up.
It was
Wow.
Up.
I was expecting somebody to guess Wall-E because
I was
I
just
thought
guessing
Wall-E
Wall-E, yeah.
should have been nominated for Best Picture that year. But the only three, Beauty and the Beast, Up, and Toy Story 3, only animated
Up,
films
the
in
movie
history.
that made you cry like a baby in the
in
first
the
5
First
minutes.
5 minutes.
It's
Brutal.
just, I'm on Shika. It just rips your heart out and shows it to you.
All right, well, I said we saved some time to get you your live Twitter questions. We're going to do that right now. Wendy, what have you picked out?
The first one comes from Axel Doteval, who writes, with Ocean Master cast, which actor would you like to see portray Black Manta?
Oh,
a
gosh.
good one.
I mean, an easy, obvious one would be like an Idris Elba. He would be amazing as
Idris
that.
Elba
so.
would be rad.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't it be bold if they decided to do like a Black Manta and they decided to do it Dredd style and he never takes the helmet off?
that would be
badass.
pretty sweet. That would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty
They're going to
cool.
have to reduce that saucer head, though.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
a bit too
That's
big.
not practical.
Well, same thing with Orin. I mean, the Ocean Master, his head
He's
is
not wearing that helmet.
No, a little too
Yeah.
grand.
Let's see. Oh, well, a lot of them are locked up in Marvel movies, right?
Right.
Like, because I would have liked to have seen.
Chiwetel.
Yeah, he did. He's another. But the Black Panther, I can't think of his name. He's a little young.
Oh, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, right when we saw that guy, we're like, that guy's going to get so much work. It's silly. And so here he is, ruling the world now. I think Idris Elba's an awesome choice.
Yeah,
though.
I think he would do great.
Really
I think
awesome
His
choice.
voice would bring that menacing.
Yeah, he has
aspect to it.
intensity and everything. Like, you just bring the Shere Khan isms
Yeah.
right over to Black Manta, and you have yourself a win. Idris Elba.
I'm gonna go with the dude who plays Luke Cage. I think he'd be great.
Oh, he would
Coulter.
also be, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Coulter.
All right, what's next?
James Thomas Bethia writes, now seeing what Edwards did with Rogue One, do you wish he would have stayed on Godzilla 2?
No, it just makes me look forward to whatever he does next. I mean,
Right.
I think they're going to do something cool with Godzilla 2. I like it when a franchise switches up directors. I think it keeps the directors fresh. I think it keeps the franchises fresh. So, no, it just makes me look forward to what he's going to do next.
Yeah, and if he was on Godzilla 2, he probably wouldn't have been able to do Rogue One. So, I mean, I'm glad it all worked out the way it worked out.
That's a great point. The Rogue One I got,
Yeah, right.
is what
I'm
I
not
wanted Rogue
compromising
One
that.
to be. Yeah, and as far as Godzilla 2 goes, I think it's going to be a different kind of movie because the first Godzilla was a very tantric experience, and I know it turned some people off because you're just waiting, and once we got the climactic battle between Godzilla and whoever the hell he was fighting, it was awesome, and I thought it paid off and it made the wait worth it. I think Godzilla 2, you're going to see a lot more of Godzilla.
Yeah. We've
And
seen the monsters.
We know what he
Yeah.
looks
Right.
like. It's going to be revealed, so it's just going to be a lot of great creature battles.
Yeah. I'm glad he's not doing Godzilla 2. I was one of those people who was a little bit disappointed by the constant cutaway every time. It was like, and now we're going to get some Godzilla. Kid on a couch. What's going on? So, enough of that. I'm glad they're getting somebody else. And he's got to fight King Kong, so you really got to set him up in Godzilla 2. So.
All right, what's next?
AJ Rose writes, if you could give an award to the best trailer released in the last few weeks, which film would you pick and why?
Ooh, the one. Again, a lot of great trailers have come out just in the last few weeks. Pure entertainment value, I guess I'll lean towards Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I mean, what was the other ones that came out?
Spider-Man.
Ghost in the
Spider-Man was
Shell.
really
And
good.
Spider-Man.
War of
Oh,
the Apes.
I take it back. I think War of the Planet of the Apes
Yeah.
might be my favorite. The Guardians of the Galaxy 2 one is
Yeah.
spectacular, but I really like that War of the Planet. I'll say War of the Planet of the Apes.
I was going to go Apes. To be different, I'll say I really dug that Spider-Man Homecoming. I still think it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It didn't have the impact on me because I had seen it, so much of that footage at Comic-Con that it wasn't like, all this new stuff. But you know what? Screw it. I'm going War of the Planet of the Apes. It just looks too good.
Yeah, they're all so tonally different and deliver something in a different way. Like Spider-Man made me go, okay, they're doing Spider-Man like Spider-Man. But War of the Apes, when I saw that trailer, I was like, they might pull this off. Like, there might be 3 solid movies. I know they're going to make 4, 5, 6, 7, and
Right.
8 and however many, but whenever you can deliver a solid 3 to me, for some reason, that trilogy mark makes me go, okay, if everything is horrible after that, I still have that,
Yeah.
And so that gets me really jacked. I think Spider-Man. After
you
that
think?
monologue, I'm
Yeah.
going Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
It's just too much.
No, I'm still with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Both international and domestic trailers.
Yeah.
If they were so radically different and satisfying, I got to go with Spider-Man. Second up for me, Guardians. Third, Ghost in the Shell. Fourth, the Planet of the Apes.
A lot of people in the chat room are yelling Logan, but I imagine
No,
that doesn't count.
Far
count.
away.
That,
Right.
No, Logan does not count. But I will say this: if we were handing out a trophy for trailer of the year,
Yeah.
to me, it's hands down the Logan.
Yeah,
Logan is
for
the best trailer of 2016.
Totally.
The Red Band one where he like puts the claws through the guy's.
I even preferred the one that wasn't Red Band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why. There's just something about it. But to me, the Logan one is easily. All right, we got time for one more.
All right, last one. Let's go to Joe Ronsley, who writes, "What do you think of a T.J. Miller Michael Pena comedy team up?"
Well, I mean, who knows? Like if you find the right chemistry and the whatever. I mean, one of the other videos that's going up today is our review for Why Him. Had you asked me in advance, do I think a comedic style and chemistry between Bryan Cranston and James Franco will work? Having watched the trailers, I probably would have said no. But they found the magic, and it actually does work, and it's a really funny movie. You can check out our review for it when it goes up later. It could. Michael Pena is just this guy. I'm starting to think you can put him opposite of anybody. TJ Miller, when he works, it's great. He doesn't always work. When he works, he's great. You put him opposite Ryan Reynolds, fantastic. You put him opposite the right person, it'll work. And since Michael Pena is a guy, I think you can put him opposite of anybody, because Michael Pena becomes this amazing performing chameleon. He will adapt himself to fit with the person he's working with. Yeah, I could see it working. What do you guys think?
In Office Christmas Party, I was expecting Jason Bateman to be the anchor for T.J. Miller's silliness, but T.J. Miller, while that was part of the movie, I think he brought somewhat of a leading man charisma to that too, which really impressed me. I know he's a great comic, but as far as him having that versatility, but Michael Pena would be the guy that I keep my eye on, because he can do what he did in Ant-Man, where he's, kind of the funny sidekick, but I think he can also anchor the action and allow his co-star to be kind of the crazier person. So him and T.J. Miller make a lot of sense to me. Who's writing this question? Do you work in Hollywood?
Right.
Make this movie.
Are these people teaming up? Is this just a hypothesis? Is this not? This isn't real, because I want to see this movie now.
It's a hypothesis. It's
All right.
an experiment.
All right. Well, I'm in 100% in on this experiment. I think T.J. Miller, when he's used right, he was wasted in Transformers.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
God, he was in that.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
he
forget.
was, yeah.
He just
Forgot.
he literally gets murder wasted in a horrible death scene. That's the only thing I remember from him in Transformers.
And I really hope
4.
the same fate doesn't happen to Gerard Carmichael, because he's in Transformers 5. He's a hysterical human being.
All right, guys, that'll do it for us for this installment of Movie Talk. Thanks so much for joining us. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. Over there, Mr. Jon Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, just at Jon Schnepp, and later today on Collider Heroes. Take care.
Right here, Jeremy Johns.
You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at Jeremy Johns, Facebook at Real Jeremy Johns. Enjoy the Rogue One review.
Over here, Mark Ellis.
Enjoy the Rogue One. I'll be seeing it again Thursday night in San Diego. I'm going to be doing stand-up there Thursday and Friday at American Comedy Company. It's right downtown in the Gaslamp District. The best day-drinking city in history. Gets them some Ellis this week.
Over there, of course, we got Ashley Mova.
Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Ashley Mova. Happy Tuesday, guys.
And, of course, Wendy Lee.
On YouTube at The Movie Couple Channel, and on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Wendy Lee Zaney.
And you guys can simply follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Jon Campea. That'll do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. And until next time, bye-bye.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.